Hello, a very good Wednesday morning to you all. It's quite bright. It's due to get a bit wet, which is typical, isn't it? Because I go away tomorrow. I'm going on a little holiday. So I'm not going to be with you next Monday, but I will be back on Wednesday with a beautiful necklace. But today I'm going to be showing you how to make some earrings that look like this. These are our Averil Toho cube earrings. They come in an array of lovely colours. I'm going to be using little stud ear findings today. We've got gorgeous little connectors, which are like triangles, like here, and touching the screen instead of here. We've got gorgeous little seed beads. I've lost all knowledge. I've only been off for a bank holiday. I can't remember what I'm talking about. So yeah, some little size 6s and then some gorgeous little cubes as well, little Toho cubes. They're very, very pretty. I like these cubes a lot, and I will show you very quickly on the website how they all look. Now, a little bit of a disclaimer, I have the builders in. We're not building anything, we are demolishing things. So I've asked them to keep the noise down, and hopefully we won't be having any drills going off until I've finished. I've asked them nicely, I've made them a cuppa, so hopefully they will oblige. But please bear with me if there is any noise in the background. Do let me know, and then I'll try my best to sort that. But hopefully you can see me okay, you can hear me okay. I'm going to say a quick good morning to you all. I'm not sure if we've got a few technical difficulties on Facebook for our Totally Beads site. I have been having little error messages today, but I'm hoping that you're all here. I'm seeing people watching on Facebook, and I'm seeing people on YouTube as well. So fingers crossed, all is okay. Good morning to Rachel. She's in a bright Barrow today. Good morning to Jan, who's in a bright Sudbury. Sheila's in, wishing myself and all her fellow beaders a good morning. Camille's in as well, and she's asking if I had a good break. I did. I've not fully started it to my holiday. I went away at the weekend with my sister to her caravan, and then we go to Torquay tomorrow early morning. So we're going to go and remember my lovely father-in-law. It would have been his birthday tomorrow, and my mother and father-in-law's golden wedding anniversary. So we're going back to the place where they had their honeymoon. We're going to scatter some of his ashes. It's going to be a very nice family occasion. And quite restful and relaxing. It'd be nice to get out of the building site because it's been chaos. Good morning to Elaine. Good morning to Izzy. How are you doing? She says, good morning, Natalie. These look nice. What's your opinion of crimps, which I've just seen with a little button on the side, which you squeeze? They look good and easy. Yeah, that sounds good to me. I'm not quite sure if I know they've got a little button on the side. Oh, I don't know, is he? You're going to have to send me a picture so I know exactly what you're talking about, and I'll be able to give my very important opinion on them. I like a crimp bead. I never crimp them properly, but if they're easy to use, they make your jewellery sturdy and you're comfortable with them, go with it. Good morning to Mina. Hello to Anastasia. And good morning to Edward. Yeah, Camille, it was my holiday part one. Yeah. It was lovely, really, really lovely. Nice to spend a bit of time with my sister. Good morning to Joanne. She says it's overcast in Coventry today. She's got a grandson sleeping, and my daughter and son-in-law both with me today. Hello. Hope everybody enjoyed their bank holiday. Good morning to Anne. How are you doing? Rachel says my parents had their honeymoon back in August in 1963 in Torquay. That's gorgeous. It's my mum and dad's anniversary as well. It'll be the 31st. So I think that's the Friday. Yeah, so lovely, really, really lovely. Oh, Jan's saying, Izzy, they're fantastic, and she uses them. So there you go. This is why we're here. If I don't know the answers, other people in the group will. We all share our knowledge, our tips and our advice. If you've got any tips and advice, pop them in the comments. It doesn't even have to be about what I'm particularly making with today. And of course, if you've got any questions, do let me know as well about the make, and I'll do my best. So let's take you over to the website. We are on totallybeads.co.uk. So we do ship worldwide. I know there is changes with tariffs in places, but as far as I'm aware, that's not affecting us as of yet. I will double check with Simon if there's going to be any changes to that. So today we are here in the jewellery making or video tutorial section, and we're doing the Averil cube earrings. You can see we got lots of pretty colours. We've got a bright teal, which I'm loving. But then I've been looking at kitchens and I'm liking my greens and I'm liking my blues. Surprise, surprise. This is the cream white pair here. We've got some gold rose. We've got golden bronze. We have lime teal, which again, really, really lovely. Purple grape, which are very pretty, and a soft pink. All of the earrings, it's going to make up one pair of earrings, and they're just £2.49. If you need to change your currency, head to the top of the page. I don't know if you can see, just there. Is it sharing? Can you all, oh, there you go. I've gone into one by accident. Let's check. Is it might be just, yeah, I think it is. It's my camera that's not scrolled up. So hopefully you can all see that okay. If I go back into the comments, it kicks out. And there you go. So here we are with our Averil earrings, £2.49. So I'll show you what is in each of your kit. You've got lots of different colours in regards to the seed beads and the cubes, but we've used two colours of finding. So you've got like a lovely champagne pair, and then you've got this kind, is it rhodium or is it silver? It's rhodium. So here we've got these lovely beautiful cube beads for you. You've got your seed beads as well, which are size 6. You've got these lovely rounded little triangle connectors. I'm going to be using some eye pins today. We've got little spacer beads as well to kind of make them look like ball pins, really. It's just to make sure it doesn't happen all the time, but every now and again you might get the pin slip through that size 6 seed bead. So I've just made sure that what we're supplying you will work with this design. So you don't have to add them on, but they'll be there as well if you do need them. And you've got your jump ring, and we've also got our little headpin balls. If you want to use them instead, you can do. But I'm just going to be using eye pins to make double connectors, and I'm going to be using head pins with the nail tip finish and a little bead on them just to give them that kind of rounded edge. So in terms of your sizes, I'm going to be using 4mm Toho cubes today. These ones are your silver frost teal, and I've got the gorgeous galvanized teal in the size 6 seed beads. The dimensions on your triangle metal 6-ring connector is 14mm, and of course, because it's a triangle, they're the same each way round, so you can put them on in any way. They're always nice to use something like this, even if you're making like a multi-strung necklace. You're able to connect from lots of different points in that. So I'll just whiz through the colours for you very quickly, because it's the same in each kit. We're just getting different colours of the seed beads and the Toho cubes. These ones are your cream white, and I've put these on the champagne. So we've got an opaque luster Navajo white, and I've also got the Navajo white in the cubes as well. I have used the cubes before, only once I think, and I love them so much I thought they desperately need to be little boho chic earrings. These ones are your gold rose. I love these. These are what I'm going to demo for you today. They've got like, I think, kind of like a terracotta-y type of colour to them. So they are kind of a rose gold topaz, they're named, and a galvanised rose gold. But I'll show you them down on the mat so you can see how they look. Of course, if you wanted to multi-buy your kits, you could mix these as well if you wanted to. You might want to put this golden bronze with the Navajo white, or you might want to put it with that topaz that I've just shown you. They're those ones here. I do think the purpley ones would look beautiful with the pink as well. And I think the kind of teal would look lovely with the green. So if you wanted to mix up the colours, you absolutely could. You could swap round the cubes, you could add in different coloured cubes, or you could just change and swap around the seed beads and the cubes if you wanted to. You can do whatever you want. You don't have to make them this long. You could make them longer or smaller. In terms of dimensions, they are from the stud itself about 5 centimetres in length, which in inches works out at about 2 inches. But of course, we've got the ball stud, which means it sits higher on your earlobe. So if you wanted to know the dimension from the very top of that triangle down to the longest dangle in the centre, it's less than 2 inches, maybe 1 3/4, or I would say, yeah, maybe 4.5 centimeters, but that just depends on how you want to place them. You might want to make the dangles smaller. You might want to make them even longer. You might not want to connect from all 3 points. This is the lime teal. I love this colourway together. Really, really pretty. So in this one, I'm using silver milky dark peridot, and I'm using a frosted crystal kind of metallic teal on the cube as well, and I've put them on the rhodium. Of course, again, if you wanted to mix and match them, you might want to pop those lime teal on a champagne colourway instead, and you might want to have this gorgeous purple pair on the rhodium instead of the champagne, so you could swap it around that way as well. All of your findings are going to be the same coloured metal. These here are your silver lined light grape and your higher metallic grape in your Toho cubes. If you want to add any more of these into your basket, you can do. Obviously, you things might, they will obviously be more expensive, but you're going to get loads more. So if you wanted to add some more of those Toho cubes, you could get these ones. You're going to get a 10-gram bag. You'll probably get a 10-gram bag there or thereabouts as well with the size 6 if you wanted to get those seed beads. And if you were to get the connectors, they're 20 pieces in there, so you could make a beautiful necklace and connect them all together. You might want to make a bracelet with them, so if there's any components that you particularly love when making, you can always add them in and find them here. This one is the soft pink colorway. Everything is really, really pretty. I love the cubes on this. They're really gorgeous. They are a rainbow crystal rose, so I'm going to take you down on the mat and hopefully you can see those colours a little bit better and a little bit more true to life. So these are the Averil cube earrings, £2.49 in a mix of beautiful colours and really straightforward and easy to make. In terms of the tools that I'm using, you can use your bail staff pliers or your round nose pliers. I'm going to be using my round nose pliers. You could also use a looper if you wanted to. I'm just rustling about because I'm trying to find my looper. So if you wanted to, you could make the looper, you could use with a looper tool as well. I'm going to need some cutters, and I would need 2 pairs of flat nose pliers just to kind of open that little jump ring at the end. Good morning, Gloria. How are you doing? She says, love beading, need cubes. I appreciate that sentiment, Gloria, and I'm feeling you. Jan says, love the look of these. I've got all of them. Oh, thank you so much, Jan. Julie says she's ordered them all as well. Good morning to lovely Elaine. She says, I've ordered the teal ones. I love the description. Yeah, I know. I noticed that. It's meant to be earring stud, but it says earring stuff. But yeah, I noticed that too. You see, you've got beady eyes, Elaine, as well as beady fingers. You can spot, nothing gets past you, does it? I did mention that to Simon, but he is away at the moment, so I don't think he could update it. But I said, don't worry, I'll talk it through and I'll explain to everybody that we do have earring stuff on earring studs. So let me show you these beautiful colours a little bit closer. These are on your rhodium findings. Look at the teal, absolutely gorgeous. Love those together, loving them. This is your Navajo white, and it's a beautiful white, and I love them against the gold. So your cubes are gorgeous. They've got like a soft rounded edge to that corner, but very much a cube. These I absolutely adore. This is what I'm going to be demonstrating for you today. So they are gold rose, but to me they've just got the most beautiful kind of almost terracotta. It is rose underneath there, but it's splashed with that gold. It just kind of makes it look ceramic to me. I just love the colours of that, and I think how beautiful would these be mixed. If you were to get just the connectors and you wanted to create a beautiful long kind of tassel necklace, you could connect them all together, or a bracelet, and have those hanging off together. I think they're beautiful together as well. I'm loving my I'm loving life. I'm loving my peach kind of colours and my kind of sea foam colours. I think they'd be beautiful together as well. I'm skipping ahead. These ones here if I can hold them up for you. So you can see in this colourway, this is your golden bronze. So the size 6 seed beads, it's a bit of a mouthful, are your star-like kind of galvanised gold. And then you've got the bronze cubes with those, which are 4mm. So I'm using 6mm Toho seed beads and 4mm Toho cubes. So that one is your gold there, and your bronze. And the light catches them lovely. I don't think these are too long, but of course you can add different amounts of beads in these, and you can make them much smaller if you didn't want them to be as lovely and long and dangly. These ones here are your lime teal. So I don't really feel that these are particularly lime in colour. They're very soft, they're very pretty. Gloria's asking, where can I order the cubes? Please head over to totallybeads.co.uk, Gloria. And if you go into the video tutorials, you'll see this is Averil cube earrings. Just scroll down on whichever colourway you like, and at the bottom it'll show you what is being in these kind of components to make these earrings, and there'll be a little list at the bottom which will have the cubes, and you can just click on add to basket. You can just buy them separately if you don't want to buy the full earring, full project today, but they're all on the totallybeads.co.uk website, and they are just called Toho cubes, Toho. These ones here are gorgeous. They're looking a little bit darker under my light on the camera. They are very much a beautiful, beautiful purple. So these are your purple grape. Hopefully the light will catch them nice for you. And then lastly, we've got these gorgeous pink, which are really pretty. Again, I don't think it's quite showing as lovely. You are most welcome. I don't think it's showing as gorgeous as they are. So inside these is where your colour is on the inside, and then it's kind of got its little kind of cube around it. So when the light touches it, they just glisten. They're really, really pretty. Right, let's get making. Really straightforward. I'm going to be using Headpins and Eyepins today. So I'm going to show you what is the difference with what thing. So if you're looking for an eye pin, it has this little loop on the bottom, which is like a little eye, like a little letter I. That's how you can remember it. And they're really good to make. I know, Joanne says, oh, that purple grape's gorgeous. Morning, Esther. And Jay says, I'm loving the design of your earrings. Oh my, off to find some beautiful cubes. Have fun on the website, Jay. So your pin has got this round kind of loop at the end, and that's going to make it great if you want to make a double connector. So if you want to connect from the top and the bottom, I tend to use these lovely eye pins. Look like a little bit like a lollipop. Now you can turn these loops with a looper tool. You can turn them with your round nose pliers. I'm going to show you exactly how to do that today. Because these are nice and long, these are 50mm, when I'm adding on, sometimes I might just be adding one cube onto them. I'm going to be left with a lot of that pin. So rather than waste it, I'm going to keep that pin, and then I'll just turn a loop on the other end again. And then I've got basically 2 pins in one. So I can reuse these. I'm not wasting anything. For my head pin, these have like a flat tip finish. So they look like a nail, like if you were going to hammer that in. Sometimes I use a ball pin, and a ball pin will have a rounded little kind of ball on the end of it. These are flat nail tip finishes. Now, I'm not finding I'm having an issue with the size 6 coming off the bottom. For me, that fits really well and really perfectly. But because sometimes there might be slightly kind of indiscrepancies in some of your seed beads, we just didn't want to make sure that they were going to fall off. So what you're going to get in your kit as well is these little round spacer beads. I'd say they're probably about 2mm, to be honest. And I'm just going to pop one of those on the end, and then when I pop my seed bead on, they're not going to fall off. So I'm going to make 3 of these with just the seed bead, the little spacer bead, and the head pin. So I'm going to make 3 of those. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make them into wrapped loops. Now we're going to turn loop on these, and we're going to wrap loop on these ones. A wrap loop is exactly what it sounds. We're going to wrap around. It's going to make it super, super secure. And then the turned loop, you can open up that loop. So you can open up this little bit and you can link them onto each other. You can link on with wrap loops, but you need to make sure you're connecting it to whatever you're connecting it with before you wrap that loop, because once you've wrapped it, it's closed off. So I'm going to take my round nose pliers and I'm going to move it slightly up from the end. So I've got a few millimeters there, and I'm just going to bend it over the top. So I'm bending it into almost kind of a 90-degree bend, a little like angle there. And you'll see there's a tiny bit of space between that bead and that bend. And that's great, because what I want to do is I'm going to wrap around that. So I'm going to reposition my hand. So my pliers are now, the jaws of the pliers are above and below that pin. I'm going to bring the pin all the way around and then reposition my hand again so I can get it right underneath and I can center that loop. I'm now going to swap it into the less dominant hand, but I will take it off just to show you. So I've created that loop that's just sitting right nicely above on the top in the center of the bead there. So I pop it in my less dominant hand, but I keep it on the round nose pliers, and I'm going to tilt my hand slightly forward to let gravity push those beads down to the bottom of the pin, and then I'm going to slightly push the tail end of that pin up. So if you can see, it's not going straight across, it's just got a slight angle on it, ever so much. And then when I wrap this around, it's going to create that nice tight loop. I usually wrap it around about 3 times. So I'm going to take my chain nose pliers and I'm going to grab the tip of the chain nose pliers and I'm going to bring it all the way around. And then I'm going to turn my hand, take the pin and bring it all the way around. So that's one wrap. Again, to the back and around the front for the second time. And again, around the back and start to bring it in just to fill any gap between the bead and the wrap. You can center your loop again if it slightly moves. Just put your round nose pliers, give it a little twist if need be. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut with my wire cutters or my flush cutters nice and close. I'm not cutting the loop, I'm just cutting that tail end. I'm cutting it nice and close. I'm keeping hold of it, wire cut it, so this bit doesn't fire away. You can wear safety goggles if you need to. I don't, but I'm just making sure that that doesn't fire off. Now what you can see is I've got that tiny little bit sticking up, and we don't want that. So I'm going to take my chain nose pliers or my needle nose pliers, and I'm just going to push that little end in. I'm watching the bead, don't want to put any pressure on the bead, I just want to push that wire in. And I'm going to go over it. Sometimes I give it a little twist just to make sure that end is now fully flush and down. And if it's not, just keep going in with your pliers and push that down. I tend to run my finger across it just to check there's no sharp edges. Sometimes you can get like a little cotton bud, and you can rub that along your makes as well and just check there's no snags. But that is my little wrap loop with a spacer bead and a seed bead on my head pin. I'm going to make 3 of those. Now I'm going to use, for this design, I'm going to use the rose gold kind of set that we've got. So they're my 3, all done, all the same. They're going to dangle off my earring. Obviously, this is for 1 earring. We're making a pair, so we'll need 6 of those in total. But for just demonstration purposes, I'm going to make 1 earring. So I'm going to repeat that process so I've got enough to dangle off the bottom of my design. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my cube sections. So I'm going to need just my gorgeous cubes, and I'm just going to put 1 cube, and I'm going to make, let me bring in my earring so you can see. So what I've done here is those that I've just done with the wrap loops are going to be my end dangles. I'm going to make 4 connectors with just the cube on. So this time, because I want to make a connector, I'm going to use my eye pin. I'm going to slide my beautiful Toho cube down, which is 4mm in size. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of mark which way round that loop's facing. Is it facing this way, or is it facing that way? Can you see the difference? So the loop towards me the loop away from me. The only reason I'm kind of looking at that is because I want to turn my loop so they sit in the same direction. It doesn't really matter, but I like them to sit in the same direction. And of course, you can always twist and change that if you want to. If my loop is facing up like this, I'm going to want to bend my pin either away from me or towards me rather than up or down, and that's going to turn that loop the same way. What I want to do this time is I want to bend my pin, and you can if you want to just keep it from moving around, you can hold it with the other side as well. But I want to bend my pin, and I want to get that bend fairly close to the cube. It will move up, I can take it off if I don't want to, but I'm going to try and make sure that there's not a lot of space on each side of those turned loops. When I'm making a wrap loop, I need a little bit of space between the bead and the loop to be able to fill it with the wrap. But for this, I'm just turning it, so I want it nice and close. What I'm going to do then is I'm going to mark about 1 centimetre from that bend. Now you can do this with a pen and a measure if you want to. I just do it by eye. I think if I cut around about 1 centimetre, about there, that should be enough to give me the same size loop. So I'm just going to give it a little trim. Again, I'm keeping this because I'm going to reuse that pin. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my round nose pliers and I'm going to put it right to the very end of the pin. I want it flush. If I've got a little bit of pin sticking out, when I go to turn that, all of the pin isn't going to turn, so I'm keeping it right at the end. What you can do is you can pop the already formed loop in your pliers and see where it comes to on the pliers. It comes to here, I can't push that down any further. So if I turn the other pin at around that same point on the pliers, it will give me the same size loop. So I'm going to pop it in just a little bit, I'd say it was about there. I'm going to keep it nice and flush, and I'm going to hold down the cube with my thumb and my finger so it doesn't slip up. I'm going to give it a little turn towards me, reposition my hand, and then continue to make those little turns so my loop is sitting at the top. Probably move that down a little bit too much. They're not quite the same size, but it doesn't really matter. If you get to the point where you think it's not straight, it's a little bit wonky, then you just put a little bit of pressure with both ends of your pliers onto each end to make those connecting pieces. With the pin that you've cut off, that's perfectly usable still. So what I would do is I would use my round nose again. I'm going to guide it all the way round, and I've made it like a P shape. Yeah, that's not centered. So then I'm going to pop my pliers back in, and then I'm going to bend the pin backwards. You don't need to reutilize your eye pins. There's going to be enough in your kit to make one pair of earrings. But I think if I'm just going to add one cube onto one, I might as well not waste that little bit of metal. So this is how you can make your own eye pin. So you can see I've got my eye pin now, that loop central. I can take my other cube and place that on, and then just do exactly the same on the other side. I can push down to make sure I'm close to the bead, bend my pin, cut off, leaving around 1 centimetre. And then with the round nose pliers, I'm just going to turn a loop all the way round. So I've got 2 connecting points. If it's not quite straight, straighten it out. Sometimes it's easier to have more beads on a pin than it is to just have one. You've got a little bit more to kind of hold on to. So for this section, I'm going to need to make 4 of those. So I've got 2. I'll make another 2. There we go. So I can show you how to do this with the looper tool as well if you want to. Now a looper tool will create that loop for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my bead on. I'm going to place the pin through the hole in the back, and I'm going to make sure my bead is fairly close up. And as I press the handle, I want to make sure that I don't get that bead in the way because I don't want to chip it. It's going to cut off that part of the pin for me, and it's going to start to turn my loop. I then want to straighten up my loop, so I'm going to pop my round nose pliers back in and close that loop over. I prefer to do them with the round nose, but if you're making lots of them, or you're wanting to speed up your make, or you have dexterity problems, then a looper tool is great. So let me neaten that up. Just want to make sure that that's connecting on both sides. Looks a little bit squished, that one. So let me do another one. I might do another two by hand just because I feel it's a little bit neater, but you've seen how sometimes they go perfect, sometimes they don't. I've made hundreds and hundreds of turned loops and wrap loops in my lifetime, and even now sometimes it works better than it doesn't. If my pin is this way, then I want to bend it up or down like that. So it's still the same that way, but if my pin moves, I just want to be able to turn that loop in the same direction. So again, trimming off. Oh, sorry, just knocked my camera. Leaving about 1 centimetre. Round nose in. Nice and flush. Support the bead and turn the pin. If I don't slow it down, I do it perfect. If I slow it down to show you, it doesn't quite always turn as neatly and as centrally as I'd like it to. I think it's just kind of the rhythm that I've kind of got into. I want to make sure that those loops are closed. So you can see they're pretty much even size on both sides. Hi Jay. Jay says, I've been subscribed for ages but didn't realise that Totally Beads was a store. My bad. But I do get a massive discount at the store I mentioned, so forgive me for not supporting this store. That's absolutely fine, Jay. We like to give you inspiration. So if you have things in your stash, by all means, make with what you have accessible. But if you want to make along with exactly the things that I'm using here, so you love these cubes and you want to get these cubes, you can get them in this exact same colour, and we supply. I'm pretty sure Totally Beads is the largest jewellery making component supplier in the whole of the UK. I mean, someone might slap my wrists and go, is it though? But I'm pretty sure it is. It's a family run business, and it's been running for ages. And I joined them, what, about 5 years ago? Yeah, 5 years ago nearly. So I want 4 of these just with the cube, just single cube. I want 3 with the wrap loop. And then what I want 2, which will be on the eye pin again, the one that looks like the lollipop. And that's going to have 1 size 6, 1 cube, and 1 size 6 seed bead. I need 2 of them. So get my eye pin, gonna pop on my size 6 in the most beautiful colour ever, my 4mm Toho cube, and my size 6 seed bead. That's going to be these 2. And I'm going to do exactly the same. You can use your looper tool, you can use whatever tools you want, as long as it works. I want to make sure that these are, sometimes it's easier as well to push the section with the beads rather than the pin. So I'm going to hold my pliers, chain nose or whatever you've got, close up to the bead, and then I'm just going to put a little bend in, and then that's fairly close to the bead. I'm going to cut off again, leaving about 1 centimetre, holding on to that pin. Again, I'm going to keep hold of these bits because these will make another earring or a connector or whatever I want to do with it. Putting it nice and flush, supporting those beads with my thumb and my finger from behind it, all the way around to turn that little loop so they're even on both sides. And then my last one, and then all I need to do is start putting it together. Again, you might want to have an extra section. You've got the extra pieces to make those longer dangles if you wanted to. You're going to get enough of your eye pins and your head pins to make one pair of earrings, but you're going to have little bits of the pin left over. So if you wanted to, add, I don't know, maybe you just want some with seed beads and some more, you can construct these in whichever way you want. So I'm just checking that my loops are all central and are all closed. So what I mean by that is you can see there's a little bit of, now I've opened it up, there's a little bit of a gap where this part isn't touching that part. If I just give it a little twist, then that will close it, and I want to make that central. And I want to kind of make sure that they're sitting kind of flat. So I'm going to now start to piece my earrings together. Now the way I've done this, I'm going to put the longer with the cube and the 2 seed beads in the middle, and I'm going to have just 1 cube either side. And then going to have another cube connected to this one, and then my little kind of tassel wrapped loop at the bottom. And then I'm going to have another longer one in the center connected to this one, and my little wrap loop on the bottom, and the same again on this side, so these 2 outer ones are symmetrical. When I come to making my matching earring, if I've made exactly the same components up using the same beads in the same colour, then I'm going to end up with a matching pair. Hope I've not missed any questions. Rachel says, I order often from Totally and one other shop in the UK as there are no shops in Cumbria. Brick and mortar shops, as in like an actual building, are getting, bead shops are becoming very, very hard to come by. There's not many of them. Totally Beads has a warehouse which is based in Clacton-on-Sea, and we do have open days. I think it's like the first Saturday of every month. So you can go in store, but we are predominantly online, and of course we ship worldwide. So I've got my little connector, and I've got my lovely earring stud. So your earring stud's going to have like a little back to it and a little loop at the bottom, and the post will go through your earlobe or whoever's lucky enough to wear them, and then the back will just support the earring in place. It's got a little loop on the bottom that you can connect from, and I'm going to connect with a small little jump ring which is also in your kit. So let's just start piecing them all together. I've got a wrap loop there. I can't open the wrap loop. The wrap loop is fully closed and locked in place. So my little connector that I've just made, I'm going to open up by just lifting it up with my pliers, just a couple of millimeters really, connect that onto the bottom and then close it back. When I close it back, I want to make sure that that metal is touching the other part of the loop. So now that's fully closed and locked in place. I've made a double-ended connector, so you can either open it from this end or you can open it off the other one, whichever you want to do. A little flick up towards you, a bit like you were opening a door, and then add that one into the loop and close. I like to lay mine out on my beading mat in front of me, whatever I'm using, so I can see how I'm piecing them together, so I pick the right ones up. You might want to work from the outside again. So I'm going to open up using the little loop on the eye pin and slide that on to my wrap loop and make sure that's closed, and then take the connector from the top or on the other one with just 1 cube, and then again making sure that's closed. So a little flick to open, a little flick in the opposite direction to close. These ones I'm going to do the same. So the ones with the 2 seed beads and the Toho cube in the middle is going to have 1 wrapped loop, little kind of almost tassel on the bottom of it, and then they're going to just be connected together But you don't have to do this pattern. You can do whatever you want with them. And I'd love to see, I mean, if you wanted to, you could not include the connector and you could just have them dangling off the stud if you wanted to. Now, because I've got double connectors, I don't need to attach these on with jump rings. And because this is a triangle shape consisting of 3 little rings on either side, it doesn't matter which way round that I can connect them from. What you will notice is the front and the back are the same as well. So they've got like little gorgeous little kind of dots, summer spots in the centre of there. So it doesn't matter which way up I pick up my connector. I'm going to open up the loop at the top of one of my tassels and I'm going to slide that on to the corner of the connector and close that over. If it's not fully closed, you can cheat as well and you can give it a little bit of a swish from the back and the front if you need to, just to tighten that loop up. Because we don't want to make them and bits fall off. And then again, we're going to just open up a little bit. If you've fully closed and fully turned your loops, then they will just close really nicely and you won't need to do that. Put a little bit of pressure just to close that over. The longer tassel is going to dangle from the centre in this design. And then again, we're going to just open up the last one we've connected together and we're going to connect that onto the last circle on our triangle on the outside of the connector and close that back down. And it's almost done. All I need to do now is get my small little jump ring out of my kit. I'm going to open my jump ring with 2 pairs of pliers. So I like to use a pair of chain nose and flat nose. You can get a jump ring opener as well, which just looks like a little ring that sits on your finger. But I think 2 pairs of pliers work perfectly. All I would suggest is that you don't have any kind of, like, I suppose they're called teeth, like a jagged edge on the inside of your plier. Jewellery making pliers are smooth. We haven't got serrated edges, and that's going to grip nicely but also not mark any of the metal that we're using. I'm going to give it a little twist towards me just to open it up, and I'm going to attach that from that top point of the triangle and my little loop on my earring stud, and then I'm going to close it over. So I'm taking full surface area of my pliers. I'm going to hold it steady in one hand, and with the other hand I'm just going to move it. So I'm opening it towards me and away to close, and I'm not pulling it out. That's not going to distort the shape of the jump ring, and it's going to make sure that those 2 ends align really nicely. Sometimes they click, sometimes they don't. If it clicks in place, it's perfection. But all we want to do is make sure that those 2 points of the jump rings are smooth and aligned with each other. And that is how you make one Averil cube earring. If you're making a matching pair, of course, you're going to have to repeat that process. And then you've got that too. Really, really lovely. I will pop one in my ear, so you can see the length of these. Again, don't forget, you can change this design up whatever way you like. I don't know if I've missed any questions. Everyone's having a chit chat, and I've been so focused on what I'm doing, I've not had a chit chat. I don't know. Jay says, I will definitely check out the store. There's no such thing as too many beads. I always tell my husband, she who dies with the most beads wins. I think I'm going to be a contender. There you go. This is the earring. I don't think they're too long. I think for me, they're just right. I like a dangly earring. My camera and the light in here is not great, but they're very, very, very pretty. They dangle really nice. I think they're gorgeous all year round. I love how the triangle kind of sits forward because it's on that ear stud. It oscillates and it's got that movement with it, which makes these shimmer and shine even more so, and the light reflects on the surface area of that kind of connecting triangle, but the triangle sits nice and frontwards, if that makes sense, because it's being attached with that additional jump ring. They're really, really lovely, so much so I'm going to put a different colour in a different ear. I'm going to go for teal or this slimy coloured one. Oh, Yolanda's going on holiday. Just Me says, I was able to make twice as many wisteria hanging flowers using the cut ends of the Eyepins when my supply was low. Use them. It's a shame, like they're perfect. They're perfect. And you're jewellery makers, so you have your tools and it takes seconds to do. This lovely one. I'm going to go around the house today, and then about a little bit later on, someone's go, you know, you've got odd earrings in, they're not matching. They're lovely. I'll take one out, so I don't do that. So I don't think I've missed any questions. If I have, please drop me a comment and let me know, and I'll go back in and check. I am on YouTube, so I always get notifications. It is Natalie Patton Jewellery on YouTube. Spelled the English way of spelling it, I'm afraid. I'm not. That's how it is. You can find me on there and I'll get notified of the comments and I'll be able to respond to you. You can always comment on the Totally Beads YouTube page as well. I don't get notified of those, so I have to go back and like check it, but you can always leave us a comment there and someone will do their best to answer you. Anastasia, you're a little sweetheart. Thank you so much. Yolanda says, good morning, Natalie and everyone. Missed a couple of videos, was enjoying myself at Niagara Falls in Canada. Oh, now back in the reality of work. Well, I won't be with you on Monday because I am going to be travelling back from my holiday. A much needed one, I must say. I can't remember the last time I was away. And as my house is a building site, desperate to get out of it. So I won't be with you on Monday, but I think the lovely Laura will. So we're still here. I'd say I'm not even off sunning myself because it's meant to be thunder and lightning and raining from as of tomorrow, which is just wonderful, isn't it? But I won't be back with you until Wednesday. And on Wednesday, I'm making lovely necklaces. I'm looking around. So they are using pearls, glass pearls. We've got chain, we've got dangles. They're very, very pretty and they come in a whole host of colours. So if you can come and join me on Wednesday next week, I would love to see you. Until then, I hope you all have a really lovely week. I hope you have a great weekend. I hope everyone had a nice bank holiday, if indeed you did have one, and I will see you all very, very soon. Take care, everyone. Keep making, and always remember what the very intelligent Jay once said: those who have the most